Hey guys. Hello from Nashville, Tennessee. Hope you guys are having an awesome Friday. It's almost the weekend. I can't wait. I got some great plans with the family. I hope you do too. So tell me where you're from. I'm Michael Hyatt. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. I blog at michaelhyatt.com and I podcast at a podcast show called This Is Your Life. And it's a weekly podcast. So great. Laurel, Mississippi, Cleveland, Tennessee, Chicago, Jacksonville, Florida, Knoxville, Naperville, Illinois, Brazil, you're back. Washington, D.C., Westchester County, Denver, Atlanta, Phoenix, Ohio, Salt Lake City. These roll by so quickly. By the way, this is one of the things I hope that Periscope fixes about their interface so that I don't just have to see all these comments rolling by. South Africa, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I think that may be Andy Traubland. Norman, Oklahoma. Awesome. Well, welcome, guys. This is the Daily Mentor Show. It's a show that I do Monday through Friday. This is kind of a 30-day experiment to see if this really adds value, because that's my number one goal with Periscope or any other social media platform that I use, is I want to add value to you. If this is your first time here, if you've never heard of me before, again, my name is Michael Hyatt, H-Y-A-T-T. I blog at michaelhyatt.com. I'm the author of the New York Times bestseller platform, Get Noticed in a Noisy World. And if you've been looking for a mentor to provide practical guidance on how you can win at work and succeed at life, you've come to the right place. My goal is to provide the inspiration, the insight, the tools you need to create the life you want. So today, we're going to talk about what I love about Periscope. And Casey, by the way, says, Catch Me can capture all these and the comments. Yes, they can. And I use it, and I've got another hack that I'll share with you that I'm also using with ScreenFlow, which is kind of cool. But we're going to talk about what I love about Periscope. You can find that post. I know this may not be fully in the screen, but it's michaelhyatt.com/ScopeLove. So go to ScopeLove/ScopeLove, michaelhyatt.com/ScopeLove. to read my post from today about what I love it. And just a little sneak preview, on Monday, I'm going to blog about 10 things I hate about Periscope. So just know that I'm not just a fanboy and I'm not just totally caught up in this medium, but I have to say, I haven't been this excited about a social media platform since I got onto Twitter in 2008. I just think there's huge, huge potential. Now, if you agree, I want you to give me a yes. Now, if you think maybe, you're not quite sure yet, put not sure. And if you think it has no potential, not sure why you're here, but tell me no. Lots of people saying yes, 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 me too. Wow, wow, wow. So fast. Not sure. Okay, there's somebody. The bald engineer, great, thank you. Thank you for being honest. Make sure that you swipe left to right to share this scope, because I'm going to give you one tip that is going to be worth your whole time here, I promise. This is a hack that has nothing to do with Periscope. It's for accomplishing your biggest, most important dreams. The first step you ought to take on every important project. So share this by swiping left to right on iPhone and then clicking that little share icon, or on Android from top to bottom, and you can click on that and share it as well. And of course, I love me some hearts. So if you want to give me the heart love, that's fantastic. That actually helps, from what I understand, with getting Periscope's attention so that your post, look at that, you guys are awesome, making sure that your scope rises in the ranking and gets exposed to even new people. So cool. Okay, guys, how many of you feel like you've got a major project, maybe it's a dream that you've had for a long time, and maybe writing a book, marrying the person of your dreams, building a new house, or something else. It could be something philanthropic, like building a school like my friend Stu McLaren does in Kenya. But if you feel stuck in that pursuit, tell me. Say, I feel stuck. Or just put stuck. Because, if nobody's stuck, probably won't even share this. It's probably not even worth it. Oh, somebody says stuck, totally stuck. I'm stuck. Love Stu. Yep, me too. Stu's one of my best friends. Stuck, 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 stuck. Maybe you're not stuck, but you're not quite sure what to do first. And if that's you, put yes, that's me. Okay? I just kind of want to know who's here and what you're thinking about today. So, not sure, definitely stuck. Yes, that's me. Yes, that's me. Yes, that's me. Okay, so this came up in my mastermind today. So I have this group that meets. There were 10 of us on the phone today, actually on Zoom, which is a video platform. And one of the guys had a problem with a project that he wanted to get launched, and he didn't know where to start. And usually the conventional advice is, well, you need to get an action plan, or you need to kind of take inventory of your resources, or you need to communicate that to your team, or you need to write a vision statement. All I know is, here's what works for me. Before I commence any big project, okay, you're going to want to take this down. This is going to be something that will serve you, I promise, for the rest of your life. Before I commence any big project, I visualize the end that I have in mind. Okay, so it's not a new idea with me. I get that. Stephen Covey first said it, but I think I've taken it to another level here, because what I do is try to visualize it. So for example, before I launched a podcast, which I really wanted to launch, I could have gone in 1,000 different directions, could have been overwhelmed by the technology of doing a podcast. I could have tried to figure out, what's the topic going to be? I could have taken a course. But you know what I did first? I created the iTunes album art with my photo on it because I wanted to visualize what it would look like. It didn't actually end up being the album art, but it gave me something concrete to visualize what the outcome would be. I'm going to give you another example. I've got a new book that's coming out in March. This isn't a promo for it, but it's called Living Forward, and it's a book on how to create a life plan, because a lot of people get that they need to win at work, but they're not quite sure how to succeed in life and apply that same rigor that they use in business. They don't apply it to their life, and they end up with their health failing, a marriage blown out, or something else. So what I did is I began to write that book last summer. First of all, it was really hard to write the book. Writing any book's hard. What I did was I created a mock-up. I'm not even sure you guys can see this, but a mock-up, I'll just tell you, of the New York Times bestseller list. And I put my book, Living Forward, by Michael Hyatt and Daniel Harkavy, How to Design the Life You've Always Wanted and Why You Must. And then I dated it March the 30th, 2016, because that's a week after the book releases. And this hangs on this frame in my brand spanking new office. So I see this every day, and I've seen this every day for the last year, because that's the end goal. I want a #1 New York Times bestseller. I've had 2 New York Times bestsellers, but never #1. So that'll really help you. Here's another example. This very studio that I'm sitting in, I began to visualize about 2 years, and I had the blueprints drawn up. And then one of the things that I did, actually my son-in-law Chris did this for me. He did a 3D printing of what we call our carriage house. Isn't that cool? And oftentimes before I've written a book or an ebook, one of the first things I do is get somebody to create the cover. Now I know that cover is not going to be the cover, but it's a cover that serves to motivate me because I can visualize what it's done. So for example, in visualizing the New York Times bestseller list, I thought, okay, if that's going to be true, what else has to happen in order for me to accomplish that goal? So I thought, well, okay, first of all, I got to write a great book. Duh. And so I wrote the best book I could. Daniel and I did. And then I had my son-in-law Joel edit it, and he's the best editor I know. And he added some additional content and some additional research, and it was fantastic. Then I said to myself, I've got to get unbelievable endorsements. And I'm going to have to get outside of my comfort zone, something I really advocate. And so I was going to approach about 50 people for an endorsement. And it was people like Seth Godin and Tony Robbins and Brene Brown and Greg McKeown and just a whole bunch of folks, about 50 different people, top names I could think of. Fortunately, I had a relationship with most of them, but I sent them a request 2 weeks ago, and I asked them for an endorsement. I've got every single one, except one, that I requested, who turned me down, but just because she's too busy. But it was awesome. But all that's driving that, and this is my point, is this dumb little mocked up New York Times bestseller list, which every time I see it, I ask myself the question, what has to happen next if that's going to be true. Now, let me ask you this question. Think of the project that you're stuck on now or not quite sure what the first step would be. If you were to visualize the final product, what would it be? What could you create today or this weekend that would give you a visual sense of what it could become? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to read these, okay? Somebody think is writing in Greek or Russian. Madeline Lemon says, this is so good. She's my daughter, so she has to say that, right? Madeline, I love you. Thank you. Okay, so I want to write a book, so definitely a book cover. That's from Single DTR Serving. Great. Map with active student chapters. That's from Mary Gunther. Mary, that's a great one. That's a fantastic idea. Again, just visualizing the outcome. John Milligan says, love this. I could do this with my 90-day goals. I actually took my best year ever goals, my annual goals, and I created a screensaver or an image. I had my daughter Madeline do it, an image for each goal that visualized the outcome. Okay, I want a guest post or guest blog for a big writer. Somebody says an org chart with team members. I've done that too. That's a fabulous way to do it. Faith Cole says a book based on my PhD dissertation. Somebody else says I want to get a job after being a stay-at-home mom for gulp years. A movie script. Great. Okay, so if you're doing a movie script, what could you mock up? This may cost you a little money, but it would really be cool. What if you mocked up the movie poster? How cool would that be? Somebody says, Aaron Breedlove says, even in getting my dream job, this is amazing. Chris Cook says, love this. Ginger says, a plan to involve my whole family in our business. That is not only an awesome dream, totally possible. I don't have my whole family involved in my business, but I've got 2 of my daughters, and it's just fantastic. Okay, so Ace Music says, I'm doing a motivational tip of the day video. Any thoughts? Yeah, start. You'll figure it out when you're in motion. It's much easier to steer a moving car than a parked one. So just start. Get yourself a motivational quote, get on something like Periscope, and then just riff on that quote, what it means to you. Okay, so let's just turn the tables here a little bit, or not turn the tables, but turn the corner here and talk about Periscope a little bit. But again, I just want to say, was this helpful to you? Was this just this little hack helpful to you? Give me some heart love if it was. And please share this. Great, awesome. Lots of little taps. By the way, if you don't know, if this is your first time to Periscope, all you do is have to tap the screen. And yes, you can tap it repeatedly for more hearts. And if you want to share this scope, just swipe left to right on iOS, hit the share icon, or top to bottom on an Android device, and do the same thing. Thanks. Somebody said, fake it till you make it, definitely helping address my fears of starting. Absolutely. I hold that as a truth of the universe. Fake it till you make it. I'm not talking about being inauthentic, but I think sometimes it's kind of like when I was a little boy. Sometimes I would go into my dad's closet and I would put on his, he had a Marine jacket because he served in the Marine Corps, and I would put that on and that thing was way too big. It just didn't fit me. But eventually I grew up and it did fit. And the same thing is true in doing anything else. Sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. You just have to put it on, get comfortable with it until you till it fits. Okay, let's talk Periscope. Question: what do you love about Periscope? Okay, somebody says check out an app called Smart Goals on iPhone for the best year ever course. It's awesome. Great, I'll do that. If somebody on my staff is watching this, take that down as a note because I'd love to do that. Okay, somebody else says hands-on. Love the feedback, the interaction. This right here. Immediate messages, the immediate exchange and feedback. Let me tell you something. That's what I love too. I love the immediate feedback. This is like commenting in the blog world on steroids. Because I'm hearing directly from you guys. We can interact together. I love that. I think it's a very intimate, very immediate medium, and I'm crazy about it. I can't wait to see what they do with it, but I think, and this is the point that I made in my blog today, guys. If you're a leader, and I think you probably are, in fact, everybody I know is a leader if they just own the fact that they have influence. All of us are always influencing other people for good or for bad, right? And so if you own that and decide, I'm going to be a force for good and I'm going to influence people for a good outcome, then you're a leader. Whether or not you have people reporting to you or not. That's the key idea here. So Periscope, I would submit, is one of the greatest leadership tools of all time. Why? Because it allows you to leverage your leadership. You know, it's one thing if I lead my team, my virtual team or my real team here in Nashville. You know, that's great. But I can't really leverage that unless I use a social media platform or something like Periscope. But now all of a sudden, I'm able to extend my influence beyond the four walls of this office or this studio. And that's amazing. And that's true for all you guys too. And let me just say this too. You may think, well, you're Michael Hyatt, you can do that. Or Chalene Johnson can do that because she's Chalene. Or, you know, John Acuff can do it because it's John. Or Jeremy Cowart can do it because it's him. But let me tell you something, and I want you to really believe this. You are an expert. Whether you know it or not, whether you believe it, you're an expert. There are certain things that you know how to do. There are certain things that you just flat out know, that you assume everybody knows. They either know that information or they know how to do it, and you couldn't be more wrong. They don't. And there are people out there that would love to know how you do what you do. Maybe you're an expert and have never embraced it at cooking or at relationships or friendships or getting things done or project management or making technology accessible. It could be 1,001 things, but you've got to own it. You've got to be willing to say, and it's a tough one. It feels sometimes maybe a little authentic, like that big jacket we were just talking about. But to look in the mirror and say, I'm an expert. I'm not sure at what. And by the way, if you don't know what your expertise is, ask the people that know you best. And just say, what am I good at? You know, I'm not talking about the people that are the naysayers who will tear you down, but the people who love you and know you best, ask them, what am I really good at? Now, if you've got an expertise, and again, it's going to feel uncomfortable when you begin to exercise it. But if you've got an expertise and you want to have influence, you really want to have major impact in the world, then I would really encourage you to try Periscope. It's an amazing way. And I promise, I got out here with fear and trepidation just a couple of weeks ago. And every day, little by little, it's becoming more comfortable. You know, that's the thing about getting outside of your comfort zone. It's uncomfortable. Duh. But it's so necessary because you're not going to grow unless you get outside of your comfort zone. Okay, questions. Let's take some time for questions. Here's the ground rule, guys. If you would, precede each question with 2 question marks, your name in all capital letters, and then your question, and I'll give you a shout out and I'll know it's a question. Okay? 2 question marks, your name in all caps, and then the question. And by the way, it doesn't just have to be about Periscope. It could be about what we talked about previously. Somebody said, can we see behind the scenes of your Periscope setup? Yeah, because I got some new cool gear. Not going to do it today, but I will do that. Maybe we'll do that on Monday. Would you guys like to see that? Sarah says, you're truly rocking it out, Michael. Thanks, Sarah. Very kind of you to say so. Josh says, can we see behind the scenes? Yep, do that. Let's do that on Monday. Stephen says, what happens to all the comments afterwards? Well, they get saved into the video file, and you're going to start seeing that. You haven't been seeing it on my archive files because I've just been saving the scope file. Not the way to do it. I've got a way to do it now with ScreenFlow, and I'll show you that in behind the scenes. But it saves all the hearts, which I love the hearts. Hello. But it also saves all the comments because I like to go through and review them too. Sammy says, how can you follow up with people met on Periscope chat? Well, here's the cool thing. You can see there that their Twitter handle is listed preceding the comment, okay? So just grab that and connect with them on Twitter. That's what I recommend. Anthony, how has live streaming affected your video podcasts? It's too early to tell. I don't know. Nate, best app for goal tracking, not Evernote. I like Strides, S-T-R-I-D-E-S, if you want a dedicated goal-setting app. I also like Noseby for task management and goal management. Tammy Webb says, can you delete the archive? You mean like if you use catch.me? I don't know the answer to that question. Mine are all archived at michaelhyatt.com. So sometime this afternoon, this one will go up there. John Milligan says, what are some ways you've repurposed Periscope recordings? Nothing yet, John, other than just putting them on my website. And if you look at my blog post today, I invite you to this discussion, okay? And then this afternoon, once I've uploaded it to YouTube and I've posted it on my site using the Get Noticed theme, the video post format, then I'll link to it in today's post as a replay. So we created all the graphics for that earlier and everything because, again, we just want to serve you guys and add value. What are the questions? Any questions on anything? Should I quit video blogging and just do Periscope? Clay, I don't know the answer to that. I think before I quit whatever it is you're doing that's working, I would give this a try and see. Liv says, Periscope, fad or not? You know, it's funny because when I started with Twitter, people said to me, it's just a fad. You know, it's going to go away. And I said, I don't think so. You might be right, but I don't think so. I think the exact same thing with Periscope. I don't think it's a fad, but it may be. Somebody just asked a question about iPad. If you could repost that, it's gone now. I can't see it, and I'll be glad to answer that. Jasmine says, looking for a side chick. I love that. Yeah, not right now, but cool. Tammy Webb says, how do y'all get the hearts behind you? Well, we created a GIF file, GIF, which is an animated file, and we put it on the slide. This is just a keynote slide being projected on the TV behind me, and we put it on there. Rennie says, what do you know about Facebook's live video interface that is being developed? I have it because I have a verified account. I just haven't used it yet. I know it doesn't have hearts, which automatically means less to me. Okay, have you heard of the Periscope Summit New York City this September? I've not. Love to go. Ethan, do you battle with an imposter syndrome? Yeah, sometimes I do. I mean, there have been times when, especially when I was a CEO, I remember when I first got promoted to CEO, I thought, you know, it's only a matter of time before they figure out that I don't know what I'm doing. And so I did feel like a bit of an imposter. Now what I recognize is that anytime I try something new, I always feel that way. It's normal. In fact, if I'm not feeling that way, I'm not pushing myself hard enough. So I want to grow. Okay? Rennie gave me a thumbs up. Thanks for all your knowledge you share. Aloha from Hawaii. I love Hawaii. I'd love to go back. I haven't been in probably 30 years, but amazing. Joel, best scope practices for teachers. Joel, I don't know that I can answer that. I don't really have any experience there. Let me get a little more experience under my belt. Lou D says, is there a way to capture the names of all the people on this scope? Yeah, when you play the replay, I think this is true, when you play the replay and you scroll down on the replay, you know, before you actually press the replay button, it gives you a list of everybody that was on this scope. Kathy says, think almost daily scoping is sustainable. Thoughts thus far? You know, Kathy, that's my biggest concern. You know, honestly, is this sustainable? I can tell you this. I look forward to this every day. I have a lot of enthusiasm about it, and it's easy right now. The real test will come in about a month when the initial enthusiasm is worn off, and I go, you know, do I really need to do that? Or I get really crazy busy with my schedule, and I'm out traveling. Can I do it then? A says, oh, I lost that. Craig says, how do you stop all the freezes on Periscope? I think that's actually pretty simple. Get a higher bandwidth internet connection. You know, and that may not be easy for you. I don't know, but I think that's an internet bandwidth issue. Faith says, are listicles better for Periscope format? Not sure what that is. I don't know what that means. Our boy says, first time on Periscope. Great, welcome. Alan, can you capture your subscribers and push content to them? I don't think so. You probably could actually, but I'm not sure I would recommend that. What I'm going to do, and you're going to start seeing this next week, is that I'm going to create some opt-in magnets, we call them, but some opportunities for you to subscribe to my email newsletter list and get a cool free gift from me if you do so. And that's one way to build my email list. Somebody said, no fair, you don't have to do hair and makeup every day. One of the things I did do today, though, is I got a new ring light. I'll show you this on Monday, but I think it's lighting my face better. Tell me if you don't think so. Tammy Webb says mic options. I've got the Rode SmartLav Plus mic on. Pretty awesome. Listicles. Thank you, Carrie. 5 things you need to know about. I love listicles. You know, I use lists all the time because people can get their mind around them. It creates tension where people want to make sure that they stay till the end to get all the content. I used to, by the way, when I would speak, let's say I had 3 points, and I would stand up and I'd say, There's 3 things you need to know, so let me tell you what they are, and then I'll unpack them. And so I'd give them a summary of what I was going to talk about. You know what immediately happened when I did that? And I learned this from my friend Ken Davis. All the tension left the room. People felt like they had what they needed, and then they just nodded off. So instead I say now, I've got 3 things you need to know. Here's the first one. And people are hanging on. Okay, so what's the second one? What's the third one? They want to stay on to the end. So that's a little public speaking or content development trick. Bummed I missed the beginning. We'll have to catch the replay. The Hyatt's rock, much wisdom and knowledge. Thank you, the Canards. Alan, is landscape an option or only portrait? Tune in on Monday where I talk about 10 things, maybe it's 9, that I hate about Periscope. That's numero uno. You know, I hate the fact that this can't be landscape. The good news is supposedly Periscope's working on that. But this is just, portrait is not a great format. Yep, Madeline confirmed they're coming out with landscape. Any other questions on anything at all? We've got a few minutes left. I don't want to go beyond what I can add value, but if there are any other questions, I want to answer them. Again, 2 question marks, your name, and then your question. So Ace Music said, I understand that you use Infusionsoft. How do you think you can integrate this into your CRM? Not sure. Chris, which iPad or iPhone stand are you using? Looks awesome. I'm using an Endura tripod stand, so it's a full-length stand. I'll show you this on Monday. I've got an iPad thingamajiggy, that holds it on from iStabilizer, and then I've got the actual iPad. Now, why am I using an iPad instead of an iPhone? Because I can read it. The iPhone screen is just too stinking small. So I like that. So Ethan said, like how I got into the comments here when there were 500 plus in here, helps the retention rates. Yes, another limitation of Periscope is that it only allows the first couple of 100 commenters in. Then you have to X out, re-enter until you have that little thing that says, do you want to say something? Matt says, do you work from Periscope? Not sure what that means. Kathy, any thoughts on Meerkat? Nope, never used it and not interested. And the reason why is because there's not a social network like there is with Twitter or Facebook to support it. Ginger, would Periscope be a good way to build a community with common goals? I think so. You can actually do private scopes. Another question, are you using Keynote to feed the monitor? Yes, I am. That's simply a Keynote slide. That's all it is. Matt, do you work for Periscope? No. I have no affiliation with them. I've never talked to anybody from Periscope. Would love to have a sponsorship, but I don't have that. Matt says, do you work from Periscope? I think that was the same question. How long do you spend time planning your Periscope presentations? Literally 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. I had this brainstorm after my inner circle call this morning, and I thought that I would share some things with you, so I gathered some resources to do that. By the way, somebody just walked in the room.
Gail told me to interrupt you.
Okay, this is my friend Lewis House. Lewis, stick your head in here where they can see.
How's it going? I was just scoping, watching you through the window, through my Periscope.
That's like, what was that movie? Inception?
Inception, that's a little what it's like.
It's like a little bit of, yeah. So Lewis has an awesome Periscope thing that he does, and you can find him at Lewis Howes, LEWISHOWES, right?
That's it, Lewis Howes. Yeah.
And he's got an awesome podcast, which is called
School of
Oh, you don't have your shirt on anymore. School of Greatness.
Got the book over there.
And he's got it. Grab your book. Let's show the people this. Let's promote this.
This is the most amazing setup.
This is an awesome book. I endorsed it, The School of Greatness. It's coming out in October. You can expect that I'm going to make a big push. Lewis is my buddy. He stayed with us last night. We had a big party with the Nashville Media Mafia. And so anyway, anything you want to say?
What I want to say is that you guys are in the best of hands with Michael, because as an online business guy, as a marketer myself, there are only a few people I actually trust with my research and with my information to learn from, and this is the guy that I always look at. It's the guy that I look up to. So you're in great hands. I mean, everything about Michael speaks leadership and integrity. That's what I think about when I think of this guy. So I'm just grateful that you let me crash and he had us here. So you guys are in great hands.
Thank you.
Make sure you buy everything he puts out, read everything, listen to all his podcasts.
Oh, come on. Stop. Stop.
So that's what I have to say. But I'll let you get back to it because I'm going to do an interview with Josh.
Okay, buddy.
But thank you.
Good to talk with you.
Yeah.
How fun is that? Well, guys, we're just about done here. Archie says, best value walk around time or prepared talk? I think you got to try both. You know, the first one I did was a walk around time. I showed everybody my new video studio and the guest quarters. So that's where Lewis is staying. Rennie, how do you get guest blog opportunities? Well, first of all, start following the person for whom you want to write. Pay attention to what their content is. Create a post that's relevant to them. And then find out if they run guest posts. You know, I rarely run guest posts. In fact, I have a policy that says I don't run blog posts or guest posts unless you're one of my friends from Platform University or in my inner circle group. So you got to find out if they run it. But I've done that before and it's really worked. Sharon says, how can you access old videos? Thanks. I'm going to finish up with this question. Go to michaelhyatt.com and you'll see the videos. Just scroll down in the feed there and you'll see my archived videos there. Guys, you are awesome. Thanks so much for joining me today. I want you to think about the fact that you've got the rest of the day. It may be 1 hour, depending on your time zone. It may be 6 hours. It may be 10 hours left. But it's a blank canvas. So go out and create your day. Make something beautiful. This is the only day that you get that's like today. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Use it. Talk to you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Thanks.